What's up, YouTube and Team FTK? This is BystanderX79, guys. Today I'm coming to you with a special guest upload deck profile video for March 2019. And as you can see, today's deck profile we're going to be doing is True Dracos. Now, True Dracos happens to be one of my favorite archetypes released in the past couple of years. It's taken the tribute summon mechanic and pushed it to the extreme by allowing you to tribute off continuous spells and traps to get your monsters onto the field instead of just monsters. With that being said, it gives the deck a whole lot of flexibility in which you're able to control what your opponent does to the point where you're ready to swarm the field and then overwhelm your opponent and swing for game. Alright? The archetype also has a ton of draw power and consistency, and it just makes this deck insanely consistent, which makes it one of the top decks of the meta that you need to be watching for when you go to various events. Alright? With that being said, let's get right into the profile. Alright, we're going to start off with the monsters. The first monster is Dynamite Knight, the True Draco fighter. Alright? Now, all True Draco monsters have similar effects that when they're tribute summoned on the field, you get to search or activate cards from your deck to either your hand or the field. Alright? And Dynamite Knight's case, when your opponent activates an effect, you're going to be either searching or activating a True Draco or True King track card right from your deck. Yeah. And that's the primary reason why Dynamite Knight is currently at 1. Alright. Moving on, we're going to be running 3 copies of Ignis Heat, the True Draco Warrior. Okay. When this card is tribute summoned on the field and your opponent activates effect, you're either searching or activating a True Draco spell card from your deck. Awesome, because the True Draco spell cards just give you such amounts of draw power and extra tribute summons to boot. Alright? Keep an eye on Ignis Heat's stat line, 2400 attack, 1000 defense. Okay? Because if you decide to tech this deck out a little bit, one of the techs you could potentially run is Tenacity of the Monarchs, since it does have that stat line. Alright, last but not least, Majesty Maiden, the True Draco caster. Alright, while she's tribute summoned on the field, your opponent activates effect, you're searching your deck for another True Draco monster. Alright, this is important because it frees up your other searches for you to get other more important cards. Okay. For the speed for the deck, for spells, we have 3 copies of Cardamize. Awesome card, gives this deck an insane amount of draw power, especially since you're going to be committing so much resources to the field. You're going to be left short-handed in a lot of instances. Alright? Yeah, there are some drawbacks. You can't special summon the turn you activate this card. Don't worry about that. True Dracos don't special summon all that much. Okay? Yeah, you can't cause battle damage to your opponent. That can be circumvented by not activating this card in main phase 1 and just waiting to activate this card in main phase 2. Alright. Other downside is that if you don't use the get the cards on the field, you're sitting in the graveyard. Alright, if you don't have room on the field or you can't get a monster on the field, yeah, you're going to lose it, but you know what? There are ways to get your resources back into your deck, so not to worry. Alright. You have 2 copies of Pot of Duality. Allows you to dig into your deck, buy 3 cards, choose the card for the situation you're in, and go from there. Yeah, it takes away a special summon, but like I said, with Card Demise, you're not special summoning a whole lot with this deck. So, the reason why you're only running 2 is basically with the amount of draw power that this deck has, you don't really need a 3rd copy. So, alright, we have the True Draco spells. The first one is 3 copies of Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Alright, now this right here is the mini pot of harvest for the True Draco archetype. Allows you to take 3 True Draco cards from your graveyard, shuffle them back in your deck, and you draw 1 card. Awesome. The other is going to be one of the 3 copies of True Draco Heritage. Now, Heritage gives you draw power based on the number and type of cards you send to the graveyard during your turn. So, the types being monster, spell, or trap. So if you turn around and send a monster to the graveyard, and you activate True Draco Heritage's effect, you're drawing one card. If you send a monster in a spell to the graveyard, you're drawing 2 cards. The thing is that if you send monster and 2 spells, you're only still drawing 2 cards because it only counts the first card of each type. Okay, with that being said, the other thing I want to pull out, let's just get these cards like this, is that both True Draco spells also have second and third effects. The first one allows you to gain additional normal summons during your turn, which is great. You have potentially up to 3 tribute summons during your turn, which is awesome. And the next thing is that whenever these cards are sent from the field to the graveyard, you're going to target one of your opponent's spell and trap cards and destroy it. So it's like having 6 MSTs in your deck. Alright. Okay, we have 2 copies of Terraforming and 3 copies of Dragonic Diagram. Alright, so it's essentially like you're running 5 copies of Dragonic Diagram. Alright. Diagram allow power boosts your True Draco monsters by 300 attack and defense. Okay, and makes your True Draco monsters indestructible the first time they're going to be destroyed. So it gives your monsters that a little bit more longevity. And the best effect is that it can destroy any card on your field or in your hand to search out another True Draco or True King card and add it to your hand. Alright, Diagram helps this deck go. It sets up so many plays. It's awesome to have. You need to see this card. Alright. For some Monarch spell tech, we have 1 copy of March of the Monarchs. Alright, March of the Monarchs is such an epic card. You need to be running in any Tribute Summon deck. Primary reason is that your Tribute Summon monsters can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Yeah. It adds that extra layer of protection just to help you get over certain card effects of your opponent. Furthermore, it's a continuous spell, so it's an extra piece of tribute fodder. Alright. I only won 1 copy of the Monarch Stoneforth. I know it sounds weird since we're now allowed to run multiple copies of this card, but I find multiple copies bricky at times. A lot of times I have a lot of continuous spells and traps on the field. So I have enough tribute fodder to really go to get my monsters onto the field without any problems. Now, that's not without saying that this card doesn't have any benefits, because this card does allow you to turn around and use one of your opponent's monsters as tribute fodder if that particular monster is problematic to the deck, to your deck. So it is non-targeting monster removal at best. Okay, I do happen to like to run 2 copies of Strike of the Monarch. This card actually pairs very well with There Can Only Be One. Basically because since There Can Only Be One only allows you to have 1 monster of a particular type on the field, and you have let's say you have 2 True Draco monsters, you can always tribute off the 1 True Draco monster you're not going to be using for this card's effect, and that allows you to target one of your opponent's monsters and negate its effects. Another cool effect is that while this card's in your graveyard, you can actually banish it and change all your opponent's monsters to a particular attribute. Alright, now this could be very handy if your opponent's trying to build into, say, a Witch Apprentice, or, and this is the more devilish side of the card, if your opponent flips Goes and Match on you and calls one particular attribute, guess what? You could actually turn around and banish this card from your deck, from your graveyard, excuse me. I call a different attribute, and your opponent's got to get rid of all those monsters. So it's another form of monster removal. Alright. For the traps, 1 copy of Soul Drain. Soul Drain is so epic in this format, it's not even funny. Alright? If you want to count down the decks, fine. What does this card do? It blocks monster effects that activate in the graveyard that start chains. The same thing can be applied to the Banish Zone as well with this card's effect. So, let's just turn around and count on the decks. We have Salmon Greats that activate card effects in the graveyard. All those cards effects are negated. Against Sky Striker, if you pop one of their Link monsters, this thing stops Ray from coming out. Alright. Against Dangers, all their effects, they activate and resolve in the graveyard. They're discard effects, which means, and they do start chains, which means you can negate them And Thunder Dragons, they both have effects that activate in the graveyard as well as when they're banished. So this card doubly hurts Thunder Dragons. So it's such a great card. It needs to be in this deck now. Alright. 3 copies of the Monarchs Erupt. Okay. This thing is basically a one-sided skill drain for Tribute Summon decks. As long as you control a Tribute Summon monster, your opponent's not activating monster effects unless those monsters are Tribute Summon. Alright, downside is that, yeah, the monster, if you don't control any Tribute Summon monsters, this card pops itself at the end of the turn. But then again, it's the end of the turn, and if you have other cards you could, on the field and possibly in your hand, you might be able to circumvent that. Alright. 3 copies of There Can Only Be One. This card just holds down so many decks, it's not even funny. I mean, against, yeah, Danger Thunder Dragons, it basically locks them into using Thunders. Against Sky Strikers, it prevents them from actually getting multiple of their like monsters onto the field. I know that hurts. Salamangreats, oh my god, this card is hated by Salamangreats so much, it's not even funny. Such a handy card, one of the best floodgates in the format. Alright. For the True Draco Trap lineup, 3 copies of True Draco Apocalypse. Basically allows you to destroy one of the other True Draco cards that you have on the field, and it basically halves every single one of your opponent's monsters' attacks. Even if the card leaves the field, so it's a permanent attack decrease. Awesome card. Alright. You have 1 copy of True King's Return. This is like the R-type version of Call of the Haunted, except you can actually activate it every single turn. Alright, now the thing about it is that both these cards have 2 other effects, just like their spell counterparts. Okay, both of those effects are similar. True Draco Apocalypse and True King's Return also allows you to Tribute Summon during your opponent's turn. So yeah, you can have up to 3 Tribute Summons during your turn and up to 2 Tribute Summons during your opponent's turn. So awesome, and whenever this card leaves the field and hits the graveyard, you're targeting one of your opponent's monsters and popping it, so it gives you that extra spot removal and control that this deck needs. Alright. Last and not least, we have 2 copies of Waterfall of the Dragon Souls. Alright, it has 2 effects. First effect allows you to search your deck for a worm-type monster. Great! All the True Draco monsters are worms. Awesome! The other thing is that you can actually send worm-type monsters from your field or your hand to the graveyard, and then you can draw cards equal to the number of worm-type monsters you sent, plus 1. So, pairing this with something like There Can Only Be One, so awesome. Flip There Can Only Be One, chain this card. If you have extra True Draco monsters on the field, you could just take the ones you don't need, send them to the graveyard. If you have 1 extra one in your hand, send that one to the graveyard. You could be drawing 3-4 cards easy with the activation of a particular trap. Not a bad effect to have in this deck, and it helps with the deck's overall draw power. Alright guys, that's it for my True Draco deck profile for March 2019. Guys, as always, like, comment, notify, and subscribe for this channel. Check out the description box below to find the link to my channel. Like, comment, subscribe there as well. And guys, until next time, peace.